Good morning. My name is Julia. Welcome back to my channel. This morning I got the dishes done, clean sink, clean counters, started getting out all my supplies to start baking this morning. Realized I was missing an ingredient. So I ran out to the grocery store. Luckily there's a grocery store just around the corner from us. And now I am back ready to get started. Today I'm going to attempt to bake two different treats with vegetables. And no, this is not your how to squeeze healthy foods into your baked goods. No. This is carrot cake and this is zucchini bread. Very much sugary, sweet treats, but a little bit fun, baking with some vegetables. So the first thing that I'm gonna make, and maybe the only thing, we'll see how the day goes, is carrot cake cupcakes. I made these a couple of weeks ago. I was kind of inspired seeing people making carrot cake for Easter, which is now long past. But yeah, I just was really feeling carrot cake. I had never made it before. So I tried this recipe out a couple of weeks ago and it was so good. And I'm gonna make it again. If I have time today, I'm going to make some zucchini bread. I got some zucchini at the grocery store yesterday. I already made some zucchini steel cut oatmeal in the Instant Pot yesterday. It's basically like all of the flavors of zucchini bread, but in oatmeal. It's so good. I can link the recipe to that. That comes from Acre Homestead. I have zucchini left, so I thought I'd make some zucchini bread, both to munch on and to throw in the freezer. The recipe that I use, I think, is also from Acre Homestead. It makes 2 loaves, so usually we eat one fresh and put one in the freezer for later. With all that said, let's get cooking. The first thing I need to do is shred my carrots. I have recently come to the realization that regular old carrots don't taste much like carrots. I've gotten carrots from the produce box that I subscribe to, which is just a local CSA. And those taste so much more like carrots. It's actually crazy. But this is what I've got, so this is what we're gonna use. I believe I need 1.5 cups of shredded carrots, so I'm just gonna give these a rinse, peel them, and get shredding. It's quite a shame. This is the grater that I have, which seems great. Oh, it's all just sort of right there. Well, I got this when I was living in an apartment, and I think it was my studio, and I had no storage space, no counter space. I mean, I barely have counter space now. I had even less. So this was like super smart, compact. It didn't take up all the space of a box grater, but it is such a pain to use because on a regular box grater, you have the entire like length of a side to grate on for each pass. And for this, I only have a few inches. So I have to go back and forth so many more times than if I could do like full swipes on the whole side. So I would like to get a box grater at some point. We still don't have a ton of storage space here and I don't grate things that often. I'm also thinking about getting a grater attachment for my KitchenAid stand mixer. We'll see. But this is gonna take me a minute, so I will get started on this. Okay, I got all that shredded. This is a little bit shy of 1.5 cups, but I didn't feel like washing and peeling another carrot. So that's what we're gonna go with. I'm going to get this bowl just sort of rinsed out because we're going to mix our wet ingredients and eventually everything in here. All right, I'm gonna get my dry ingredients mixed in this small bowl. I'm hoping, I think I can fit it all in here. It'll be a little bit close. If you hear the baby crying, my husband is with him. He is not on his own. He needs a nap. He does not want a nap. So I'm going to mix together 1.25 cups of flour, some baking soda, baking powder, and salt, as well as some spices. One of the spices that this recipe calls for is nutmeg. I do not have nutmeg, so I substituted for clove, and that tasted just fine. I'm sure someday I should buy some nutmeg, but again, I have what I have, and I'm gonna use it. This is a 1/4 cup measure just because I didn't, the cup measure doesn't fit super well in here, and my 1/2 cup measure, I just got dirty and it's wet in the sink, so 1/4 cup it is. Next, I need my baking powder and baking soda. I need a teaspoon of soda, and 1/2 teaspoon of powder. 1/4 teaspoon of salt, but I am just going to eyeball that. And now for the spices. I need 1½ teaspoons of cinnamon. I did not do enough baking powder. I just realized this is my 1/4 teaspoon measure, not my half. So let me add another one of those. Okay, so what did I say? 1½ teaspoons of cinnamon. And then I'll do 1/4 each of my ginger and cloves. And I'm not gonna be upset if my 1/4 teaspoons are a little bit heavy, heaping. Just more spicy goodness in the flavor. There we go. I'm going to give these a little stir together, just with a fork. And now I will set this aside. Next come the wet ingredients in this bowl that we used for the carrots. We're gonna start with 1/2 cup of vegetable oil. I just have pure vegetable oil. You could use canola oil, you could use avocado oil. You just want something that is not going to impart a lot of flavor into what you are baking. Now we need 1/2 cup of brown sugar. This is my homemade brown sugar, which is just sugar and molasses mixed together. I like to make my own now because you get to control how dark your sugar is. I find that Aldi, which is where I do the majority of my grocery shopping, only ever has light brown sugar, and I prefer a little bit more color in mine. So that is 1/2 cup. And I need 1/3 cup of granulated sugar. Just plain old white sugar. I have 2 eggs. These are some of the last of my farm fresh eggs that I got from my executive director at work. There will be more in the future, but this is all I have for now. Those super beautiful yellow yolks, almost orange, you can't even see them. There they are. I need 1 teaspoon of vanilla extract. This is the end of my homemade vanilla extract from the last batch that I made. Recently, I started another batch. It says 1 teaspoon, but you know that we don't measure vanilla. My other bottle of vanilla that I started recently with you guys is still infusing. So I'm glad that I do have just a little bit left here in order to get this recipe done. I'm gonna give all of this a mix together, and once it is combined, I will add in 1/2 cup of Greek yogurt, or you could use sour cream. I use Greek yogurt, and then the carrots will go into this mixture as well. After the carrots go in and everything is nice and combined, I will add the dry ingredients to this mixture, being careful not to overmix, and then we will get it divided up into 15 muffin tins, cupcake tins. I have a couple of big chunky pieces of brown sugar that just need a little bit of help breaking up. And in the carrots go. Getting my oven preheated. Oh, there's the baby. Cranky baby. All right, adding my dries into my wets. I'm going to prepare my muffin tin. So I only have 1 tin of 12, but this recipe makes 15. So I actually have these little silicone liners. I mean, they're meant to go in your muffin tin, but I am just gonna sort of like set them on the rack on the tray next to my tin, and we're gonna be good. So I will get these filled. And once I get these in the oven, I need to feed my hungry baby. And with that, my oven is preheated. So I'm just gonna get these for easy moving. Just put these all on a tray together and get these popped in the oven. There's 30 seconds left on my timer. Normally, while these were baking, I would have cleaned the kitchen. I would have gotten started making the cream cheese frosting, but I had a baby to feed. He needed a diaper change, and now he is just over there hiccuping away. So they have been in the oven for 18 minutes. I'm gonna test them with a toothpick, and if they need another couple minutes, we'll put them back in. Those absolutely need just a few more minutes. So we'll put those back in for 2 more. All right, and here are the cupcakes out of the oven. They were in there for a total of about 21 minutes. These ones on the side actually took a little bit longer than the rest, but I decided to just leave them all in. I don't think it's gonna be a problem to have them overcooked or anything because there is so much moisture in that batter between the carrots and the yogurt. So I'm gonna transfer these to a cooling rack and let them cool all the way, 100% cool before they get frosted. Otherwise that frosting is gonna melt. And I'm just finishing getting a little bit tidied up over here, and then I will be back to make the cream cheese frosting. Okay, I am back. It is actually several hours later. After I fed the baby, he just like would not go down for a nap. So I decided I would let him contact nap. My husband was with him all morning, so I relieved him of baby duties. He went to the gym. I hung out while the baby slept. So now we're getting back to finishing up these cupcakes. The last thing to do besides frosting them, of course, is to make the frosting. And I'm gonna link this whole recipe, by the way, in the description box. We got a chatty baby. The recipe for the cupcakes links to another recipe for the cream cheese frosting, and it says to do half the recipe for this batch of cupcakes. Funny thing, when I made these the first time a couple weeks ago, I halved all of the ingredients for the frosting except for the sugar. So I'm gonna try to do this again and hopefully we get better results. The cream cheese frosting recipe is pretty straightforward, pretty simple. We just need half a cup of softened butter. This is for the half recipe. Half a cup of softened butter, half a cup of room temperature cream cheese, 2.5 cups of powdered sugar, and then I think just like a 1/4 teaspoon of vanilla extract, which to me, that's a splash. So some vanilla extract. First, we're just going to mix together the butter and cream cheese. And once that is mixed together, we will add in the sugar 1 cup at a time, or 1 cup, and half a cup. My dad's favorite cake is carrot cake. And I was talking to my parents on the phone while the baby was napping in my arms. And I mentioned that I was doing some baking this morning, and my mom said, oh, what did you bake? What are you baking? And my dad was like, oh, well, you'll have to make that for me next time I come. And I was like, I was actually thinking about it. You'll just have to remind me. So I think that'll be nice to have a recipe in the repertoire of something that my dad loves. Mixing these together. Just because it's a little bit easier to measure this way, I'm actually going to measure out 1/2 cups of the powdered sugar. The full cup is just a little more unwieldy, so I will get started adding my 5 1/2 cups of powdered sugar. And I actually just need 1/2 cup from this new bag of sugar. This is why it's great to keep a little bit of a pantry, because I have a backup of most of my staple items most of the time. And powdered sugar is not something that I go through very often. It definitely comes in handy to have a backup on the shelf. And I don't actually have a pantry, I should say. We have a coat closet in the front, like next to the front door of our house. And I redid the closet a few years ago and made it half closet, half pantry. And that just makes it a little bit easier for us to store some of the things. We don't have a very big kitchen. This is the whole thing. We don't have a lot of storage, so that pantry just makes it a little easier. I can tell with the right amount of sugar, aka half of what I used last time, this is gonna be a lot more cream cheese forward. Before it was good, it honestly wasn't too sweet, but it didn't have like a super cream cheesy flavor. So this definitely has more cream cheese flavor coming through. That's really good. I'm probably not gonna frost these all right now, just because I'm looking at the time. We wanna take a family walk before my husband has to go to work later today. So I'm probably just gonna frost 1 or 2. Do you want a cupcake?
Me? No, I'm good right now.
So I'm just gonna frost 1 and I'm gonna eat that right now as a little treat. And I'll frost the rest of these later and I'll make sure that I show you the final product. Okay, here's my very sloppily decorated cupcake. Doesn't matter what it looks like. I will take a bite and give you the review. Much more cream cheese forward, like I said. Moist cake, beautifully spiced. Honestly, I probably could have done more spice, but so good. I'll make sure to show you what the rest of these look like once they get all frosted up later. Well, it has been a few days. This is how life goes now, but it is morning. We've got a couple of hours before we have anywhere to be, so I thought I would get this zucchini bread baked up and popped in the freezer. I've already shredded my zucchini, so let's get started throwing the rest of this batter together. By the way, here's all that's left of the carrot cake cupcakes. It hasn't been that many days, but we've enjoyed some cupcakes. We also have my father-in-law in town. He had a few, so you know, it is what it is, and they're delicious. I have my zucchini shredded and set aside. I need 2 cups. I don't know exactly how much this is, but I just shredded 1 large zucchini. Yes. And I will measure out exactly how much I need when I actually add it to the batter. But this should be probably more than I need, but definitely at least enough. First, I'm gonna mix my dry ingredients in this larger bowl. So I need 2 cups of flour. I'm gonna use my 1/2 cup measure just because it's easier to fit into this container. 2 teaspoons of baking soda. 2 teaspoons of cinnamon. A teaspoon of salt. And I'll give this just a little mix together. Set that aside. I need 3 eggs, but these are the last of my farm fresh eggs and they're a little on the small side, so I'm actually gonna do 4 and just throw in 1 additional egg. Three-quarters of a cup of neutral oil, so I have a little bit of pure vegetable oil to finish. And then I'll throw in some canola oil to finish us up. 1½ cups of white sugar. And then finally, I need a teaspoon of vanilla, but I may just finish up everything I have. Sure, why not? Reading back the recipe, I realized I put these in the wrong bowls. I should have done the liquid in the bigger bowl because I'm supposed to add the dry to the wet, but we're just gonna do it the opposite way, and I know it's gonna turn out just fine. So what I have to do is add this into here and mix just until combined. We don't want to overmix. And then we'll fold in the zucchini. This batter always seems really thick before you add in the zucchini, but with the shredded zucchini, you don't squeeze out any of the additional moisture. So it actually adds quite a bit of moisture back into the dough, the batter. And now I'm gonna measure out 2 cups of my zucchini. So this is, again, my half cup measure. There we go, perfectly 2 cups. And again, we're just folding this zucchini in. It's gonna rehydrate this dough quite a bit when it releases a lot of that moisture in the zucchini. I will put this recipe in the description box as well. This is from Acre Homestead. I know I bake a lot of her a lot of her recipes, but honestly, she has some good ones. This zucchini bread is one of my absolute favorite treats to just keep on hand. Having it in the freezer is so great because it thaws beautifully, it stays delicious and moist, and it's just such a perfect treat. I like to eat it, heat it up with a little bit of peanut butter or even just some butter or plain. Like honestly, it's so delicious. So I'm gonna get 2 loaf pans, spray them down with some cooking spray, divide this batter evenly, and then this will bake for 50 to 60 minutes. So I'm gonna test it around 50, but we're probably gonna be closer to 60 before it's done. My oven has been preheating to 350. And so once this is divided and once the oven comes to temperature, we will get these cooking away. Right on cue, the oven is to temp, so I'm gonna pop these in and we will be back when they are done. Okay, just got the kitchen all cleaned, still waiting for those to be done in the oven. I've got 35 to 45 minutes to go. But in the meantime, I am so excited. We have a new kitchen appliance on its way. This is something that I've wanted for a long time, but didn't know if it was even possible. Turns out it is, and it's just gonna make my life so much easier. I can't wait to show it to you. It should be here by the next video. If you have any guesses, leave them in the comments below. Literally, I'm like over the moon excited about this. Don't mind the baby hiccuping behind me, but these just came out of the oven literally 30 seconds ago. They are cooked perfectly. Toothpicks in the center came out clean. So I'm gonna leave these to cool in the pan for just a few minutes, and then I will let them finish cooling on a cooling rack. I will get them wrapped up, packaged up, and put in the freezer for a later date. And that is all for today's video. I hope you enjoyed watching me bake these veggie recipes. I know I had a lot of fun doing it, and I'm having even more fun eating them. If you like this video, make sure you give it a thumbs up, and if you haven't already subscribed, please consider doing so. It really does help my channel grow. So grateful for you, and I'll see you in the next one. Bye, guys.